Good morning, my dear friends. Welcome to my channel or welcome back. Another day, another sinus infection, if you know what I mean. Maybe many of you are struggling too. It is the fall. Oh, and the weather is changing and I'm loving every second of it. I think right now it's about 59 degrees here in my neck of the woods, which is the 50s are where it's at. Let me tell you that. So beautiful weather, but with the change in weather comes a lot of sinus and allergy trauma. And I have become used to a sinus infection like every 3 weeks or so. So we're in the throes of one right now. And I'm about to get on the road for work, admittedly. But there's a Yankee Candle out where I'm going. So I'm so excited. I'm going to go to Yankee Candle today and I'm going to get minis at least of all of the new Christmas candles. Am I like expecting the world, the moon, the stars? Absolutely not. But, it's just, look, it's the little things in the day, right? It's the little things. Also, going to be taking back this ye old nitro cold brew that smells straight up like a chocolate Tootsie Roll. Yeah, it's a no for me. It's a no. I'm not even gonna bother. Between us, the Yankee candles of late tend to not improve upon being burned. So yeah, if they change at all in terms of fragrance or performance or whatever else, they don't reveal nuances once they're burned and they tend to transform negatively. So I'm not even going to mess around with this. It's not going to improve upon it being burned. I think that comes from cheap inputs to why your candles are transforming negatively when they're burned. That's a kind of a telltale indication. Yankee, I'm still rooting for you, but what is going on? I haven't even looked to see if there's a good sale today. If there's a good sale, I could maybe even get a price adjustment, but I kind of suspect there's not. Anyway, I'm really excited about that, so I should have a little mini haul from Yankee because, I know you guys have all been clamoring for more Yankee Candle. We just try to give equal time. In the spirit of equal time, I have a Tuscany candle for you today. I've got like two actually kind of strange candles, but this is kind of what I do on this channel. Somebody said in the comments once, they're like, what I like about your channel is it's kind of like a boots on the ground, what's going on in the stores, what is everybody doing kind of mentality to it, which is kind of cool. Like with all the Marshalls and TJ Maxx, and I try to hit as many like consistent companies as I can, and I really appreciated that person appreciated that because I do think that is probably my strong suit is I try to give airtime to a lot of folks, and I am a big shopper and I don't mind searching high and low and trying some things out. So I have two candles here, one from Homeworx and one from Tuscany, and I'm pairing them because they're kind of similar in terms of their profile, their smell. When I was burning this Clarity from Homeworx, I was burning it and I'm like, you know what this reminds me of is Tuscany Secret Playplace, which I already had on my ledge to review. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna burn all the way through this and we're gonna talk about them in the same breath. So the first candle that I bought here was from Kroger. I don't know if you have a Kroger in your neck of the woods, but Kroger is like a huge grocery conglomerate that has basically bought an enormous amount. Why are they not subject to antitrust? I hope I don't get sued by Kroger for even mentioning it. But like, I feel as though they own like a sizable portion of grocery stores. So Ralph's on the West Coast, I think, is Kroger now. They own a lot of smaller like grocery chains too, but there are larger regional ones that Kroger owns. So just because you don't have a branded Kroger in your community, it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have a Kroger owned grocery store. And at any rate, I bought this at Kroger, and Tuscany, which many of you are familiar with, Tuscany came out like maybe a year and a half ago, came out with this like line of animal products. They are candles that are marketed for pet owners, and they've got these like cutesy pet kind of like whatever. And but this is really cute. Look at that. Ah! The lids are all like raised and they've got these paw prints on them. They're so cute. I'm not even like a pet person, but I just thought that is a nice touch. And it's got a nice rubber gasket, etc. So Tuscany does a brisk business in grocery stores across the board. They have tended, in my impression, to be a little scrapey the bottom of the barrel-y, if you know what I mean. The more traditional like glass jars of Tuscany, to me, most of them smell very synthetic, very cheap. And one would expect that. You're selling candles in a grocery store to consumers who are not necessarily serious candle buyers. It's an impulse buy for somebody who's shopping for groceries. You know what I mean? And no judgment there. It's just that's the kind of company that they are. I I have felt as though Tuscany has gotten better over the last few years. Am I wrong in thinking that? I think that they're innovating. They have a lot of different limited edition lines now. Oh my gosh, at Meyer. So if you don't know, like fun fact about me, I fetish, one of my fetishes, oh my gosh, that sounds so indecent. I love grocery shopping, like love, absolutely love with a capital L, like it, and I know that's bizarre. I know it's bizarre. And I do try to go at like off peak moments. But it's like a therapeutic thing. Even if I don't actually need anything from the grocery store, I'll just go and I get my cart and I just walk the aisles. Sometimes I put on my headphones and I cannot explain it to you. I really can't. Probably a therapist could, food insecurity in my past, or like, I have no idea like what the complex is, but I just, by the time that I have gone through every single aisle, like a hunter gatherer, like maybe it's evolutionary, gone through every aisle, and then by the end of the store, whether I've bought things or not, I throw things in my cart and then I take them out. I just like my anxiety level is just completely down, completely down. I'll tell you what, friends, it's cheaper than therapy, and I do therapy too. I know that I'm probably the only one, but if you are also one of those unicorns who likes that, and I know for most people, like going to the grocery store is full of anxiety. It's something to do. It's never been that way for me. Why did I tell you this story? Oh my gosh, guys, it's pre-coffee and sinus infection-y. Although I have triple source from Starbucks today, so I'm so excited. After this, I'm going out, I'm getting on the road, I'm getting maybe I'll get a pumpkin cold brew. So great. I'm going to get a pumpkin cold brew. We're going to call it breakfast, right? That's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I was talking about grocery stores and then, oh yes. Okay, this is what I was going to say. In the Midwest, there is a grocery line, Meyer, Meijer, Meyer. I like Meyer. So I was born and raised in Columbus, Ohio, and we have several Meyers there, but I think it's a Michigan thing. So it's a wherever the Lutherans are, that's where a Meyer is. So it's kind of Wisconsin, Minnesota. Just kidding. Like you could be a Lutheran anywhere. At Meyer stores, and I've talked about Meyer, the Meyers in Columbus are like an entire aisle of candles and like really good candles and from companies that you don't necessarily see in average grocery stores. I'm impressed. I don't know why Meyer has this stake in candles. I mean, they've got Yankee, they've got Northern Lights, they've got Tuscany, they've got Patty Wax, they've got a couple others too, and I just can't even remember. I mean, they just have a lot of candles. I mean, yeah, some of them aren't great. Anyway, Meyer is the only place I have seen that Tuscany has I can't remember what do they call it. It's basically, you know what it is? It reminds me a lot of Chesapeake Bay. They're darker vessels, and I think they resisted the urge, which was great, to not like put like to not make it like a gentleman's collection or something like that, a la Village tried something like that. I don't think that gender thing is appropriate, or it's necessary, especially when they're not all men's colognes. They're just like really nice, natural, musky, a la Chesapeake Bay kind of leaning candles. And Tuscany has I don't know if you've seen them. I have a whole line of these candles. I want to say it's like Heritage or something like that. I don't know. They're dark, and all of them are like woods, like oud and cedar and musk and acorns and like amber, and they're just like really very good, and all literally I would take home all of them. And I want to say there's like 12 candles in this collection. And you don't know how many times I've wanted to like take all of them home with me in my Meyer cart. I think they're like $12.99 or $14.99 or something like that, which seems to be kind of the price point in Tuscany candles if they're not on sale. And usually when I'm in Columbus, I'm like, please let Meyer be running a candle sale. And then they just never are. And believe me, there was one time where I put all of these Tuscany candles in my basket and then like counted them up, and it's like 12 at $12.99. Like, it's a lot of money. And then I put them all back, and I was like, because I don't think they're online, but I could be wrong. Anyway, close parentheses. I think Tuscany is innovating. Don't get me wrong, they still have like cheap ass candles, but I think that they are making some strides to have better candles. And I, before on this channel, have reviewed a couple of their limited editions, which come in these like matte wraparounds. They're soy blends. And I think they were 2 Mother's Day candles, and they were like significantly above average as candles. So much so that I started rationing them, and I still have them in storage because I did not want to stop burning them. I bought them for like $3, like clearanced after Mother's Day. They are gorgeous candles. Like, I would put them up there with anything. I think this is what the reviewer means by boots on the ground, right? Like, every now and then it doesn't matter if it's an Aldi candle or whatever. Sometimes you just find a treasure. And then, unfortunately, the necessary corollary of that is that you can spend a pretty penny buying a candle from like Kringle, for instance, and it's just not good, That's the reverse, and it's not a good place to be. So much better for this, right? Okay, so Tuscany created these, like, they're supposed to be, it says, made with a blend of essential oils and a powerful odor neutralizer for pets, I guess. That's how they were marketing them. But when I looked, and they offered them on the website, and when I looked, like, the ingredients of the soy formula was exactly the same. So I don't really know. That could just be a bogus, oh, here it is right here. Soy wax, paraffin. Yeah. It's a soy paraffin blend. And I have no reason to believe that there's anything special about these as opposed to their other candles. I'm sorry, now I have hiccups. I'm a mess today. My policy is just to let hiccups come out, because otherwise you try to hold your breath and then you have them for like 20 minutes. Whereas if you just let out a few well-placed hiccups, then they're gone after like 3. You're welcome. I should write a book. Okay, so there's a line of these, and I bought an apple spice one. It was okay. Oh, I still have them. The apple spice one was okay. Actually, these are surprisingly good for the fact that they're marketing them for pet people, and you would expect them to just be like Glade candles, when I just spray some Febreze on it or something like that, right? They're actually pretty good. And this one I thought was especially good. And I burned it and I really loved it. It got a little dark here, but it's a pretty narrow diameter. And I burned it very long, especially once it got down into this realm. It's a green wax like this. And it still smells great. I mean, yeah, I'm getting some soot residue here, but it's fantastic. It's dewy, it's green, it's botanical, it's fresh, and unexpectedly so. Like, it smells more premium than you would expect from a grocery store company like Tuscany. So the notes on this one are aloe water, lotus blossom, and bamboo. Oh, it's so beautiful. It is all those things. It's green, it's aquatic, it's fresh, it's watery. It is an aloe candle, there's no question, but it has the sweetness from a white floral, which is fantastic. What else does it have? Bamboo. Bamboo is such a fantasy note. But as I've said before, bamboo kind of implies something spa-like, something green, something maybe austere, maybe woody. It's a great candle. It's a great candle. Strength of throw was not quite where I wanted it to be, and honestly, I've had Tuscany candles that performed a little bit better than this one. I think this was probably in the, I don't know, 5 range, 4 to 5 range. It's got a 2-wick. To be honest, at a certain point, I just kind of put it in the guest bathroom, but I did leave the door open and it kind of filtered out a little bit. Lovely, lovely fragrance, and for the most part, stays the way that it does on cold. It just was a little shyer than I would expect, and even for a Tuscany, because some of them really get up really nicely. Burn Like a Dream. They have a great soy blend. They really do. It burns like a dream. I mean, it's really gorgeous. Yeah, it was good. It was good. What was I about to say? It might have lost a little bit of freshness as it was burned and went a little bit more like perfumey, with the white floral. The white floral is going to stand up. We've talked about this before. There are certain botanical elements that are hard to amplify. And so when they're in the candle with other fragrance notes that do stand up well and do amplify well, it's going to change the profile of the fragrance a little bit. So there might have been a little bit of that. Yeah, it's really nice. It's a 14 ounce, and I think they were selling them initially for $12.99. I got this one for like $6 because it was like on clearance or something like that. And I don't know if they're going forward with this kind of collection, because I don't know that it sold particularly well. They actually didn't, in the Kroger's or in the grocery store, they did not put this with the regular candles. They put it in the pet aisle. So there's that too. Again, I don't know if this was a success on any kind of level, but it's really, really nice. And very similar to this next candle. I mean, I would buy it again if it was a really, really good price. Yeah, I've had more successful candles from Tuscany, but definitely less so too. This one is one that I got recently from Marshall's, because it was one of their new prices. They're down to, oh no, never mind, it wasn't. It was just before that. So now it was still $16.99. Did you notice that the Marshall's Homeworx candles are $14.99 now? Isn't that nice? In this world, isn't it like, it's unusual to like have prices come down, So I'm really, really grateful for that. Yeah, so the Homeworx candles at Marshall's are now $14.99. This was just before that. And I really bought it within the last like 3 months or so. This candle is one of their limited editions where they had all of the, like spa-like words, it was like a concept line. This one is Clarity, but it's really just eucalyptus and sage. And it's got these beautiful sage leaves, living sage leaves rather than dried all the way around. And of course, oh, it's just so beautiful. Harry, long may you live. Long may you continue to do these labels. I just love how he developed this and how it's different than everybody else, and it's so successful. Okay, so this one was poured in June of 2023, and it was sold on the website for a while. I even think it was sold on the Ulta website because I considered buying one of these, but I don't know. Sometimes his limited editions are a little subpar, and I just wasn't sure. So, fragrance notes for this candle are eucalyptus and sage, bergamot and orange. So, really, I mean, who knows what you're going to get when you just kind of smell that, right? I mean, when you see that on paper. So bergamot and orange is going to be your more bright, like citrus notes, but bergamot is usually used in like a cologne or perfume profile. You've got bergamot, and then you have musk on the bottom. You usually have amber in there somewhere, and then it's your middle notes sometimes which will determine whether it's more of a feminine leaning perfume or a masculine leaning cologne. Eucalyptus and sage make it sound like it's going to be maybe a little bit more austere, a little bit more masculine leaning, but honestly from those notes I was kind of expecting more of a men's cologne, and it's not. It's bright, it's sweet. I don't even know that it's like a women's perfume either, but it's so Harry Slatkin. I mean, yeah. So this is, it's very similar to this one. In fact, I'm going to smell them in tandem here. This one actually has a much more pronounced botanical note in it. This one's a little bit lighter on that, but they both have that white floral. And Harry Slatkin does the floral so well, yeah? They're both aquatic and they're both green. This is an aloe candle. So kind of, I would read off the eucalyptus, I would read off the sage, and please don't let those scare you. If you don't like eucalyptus and you're not an herbal person, this is not an herbal candle. I'm not convinced that Harry Slatkin does herbals. He does a lot of things great. Don't get me wrong. I'm just not convinced that like herbs are his thing. So I just got the kitchen and herbs, in my latest haul. And I told you it was really a white floral with an herbal finish, which is the most herbal I've seen from him for sure, which is why he branded it as an herbal candle. But it's really more of a white floral, you know what I mean? And I expect that of Harry Slatkin. Like, he does the florals well. He's either got a floral with a fruity finish, or he's got a fruit with a floral finish. He likes those white florals, and he knows how to blend them so well with fruits, with herbs, with other things like that. You know what I mean? And so when you give me an herbal austere candle from him, honestly, like, if I had given it a second's consideration, I would have expected or predicted that it was actually a white floral with some kind of herbal finish. This one doesn't even really have an herbal finish. Honestly, it's a white floral with an aquatic finish. And by aquatic, I mean kind of in an aloe way rather than like a briny ocean way, yeah? It is green, vaguely, but only in that kind of like aloe kind of way. It doesn't even go like cucumber-like. And the entire fragrance glows warm rather than cool. Yeah? That's another indication that the notes here are just not quite being, they're not firing the way that you would expect them to. Because eucalyptus and sage are going to go awfully austere and cool, right? This candle is not even remotely cool. I mean, it's just warm. It's warm, 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 but it's also aquatic in an aloe way, but without it going cool. I don't know if that's helpful at all. White floral, it's probably a jasmine, right? White floral, amber. He loves his amber. It's a white floral amber with an aquatic finish. And I really like it. I like it a lot. It's not, so Jasmine Rain, which I love that candle. Jasmine Rain is actually freesia. It's freesia rather than jasmine. So it's a little misnamed. Freesia with an aquatic finish. And freesia goes fruity and aquatic just in its own profile. That candle is a little bit cooler than this one is. This, I think, is a straight up jasmine, and it's just kind of glowing orange, red. Not red, but like, you know what I mean? It's a little bit, it's warmer, it's brighter. It's more like rich, yeah? And the aquatic is obviously coming from some other kind of inclusion here, like an aloe, basically. A lot of amber. And I've noticed that with a lot of his candles, amber does come to the fore in a very beautiful way, but you really do need to like amber for Harry Slatkin's candles. I liked this candle a lot. Not quite as green botanical as the Secret Playplace, but very similar the way that they both came off once they were burned. And I'm so happy to say that this one performed very well in terms of strength and throw. And it was a huge surprise to me. Huge. I mean, this one I could put in the open concept. I mean, yes, in the open concept, I was probably getting like a 6.5, you know, maybe a 7 in the back bedroom, and it's a beautiful fragrance for a back bedroom. In the back bedroom, I was definitely getting it up to a 7.5. There's just no question. And it was consistently. Here in the front, I have, you see my Target, my Hurricane right there. I usually put my Homework candles right there. So I put him there as well. And in the Hurricane here in the open concept, I was definitely getting at least a 7. But if it burned long, and these Harry Slatkin soy formula ones, I mean, they are a soy paraffin blend, don't get me wrong, but they have a heavy amount of soy in them, and they can burn for very, very, very long and not really get that sooty, yeah? This one did get a little bit, I don't know if you can tell, a little dark up in there, just kind of like the Tuscany one did, but it did burn very, very long, very, very, very long. And the longer that you burn these things, the amber comes out a little bit more and it gets louder. Many of his candles are very hotel lobby candles in that they reward you after 4 or 5 hours. This one was better than a hotel lobby one though, because really you could smell it within the first hour. I mean, you did not have to wait for 4 or 5 for it to reach that element. It was very similar. To be honest, this one smells the way that I expected Golden Bamboo to smell. Which is another big fragrance from him, and I've reviewed Golden Bamboo. I expected Golden Bamboo to smell like this one, because as I said with this, the bamboo to me implies that it's going to have a heavy green or aquatic or spa-like element to it, and Golden Bamboo from Harry Slatkin really doesn't at all, you know? I mean, it's really just a very honeyed amber perfume. There's hardly any green elements in that Golden Bamboo. And I know it says golden, but it's a bamboo. And I know bamboo is a fantasy note, but I don't know why. I just feel as though a bamboo fragrance should have aquatic and green elements to it. And Tuscany gets it. They put bamboo here, and they have an aquatic green fragrance. This is an aquatic green fragrance. But a la Harry Slatkin, it has that generous amount of amber, which immediately warms up the entire fragrance, plus the jasmine or whatever other white floral he's used here, which does exactly the same thing. So really, the fragrance is green but glows yellow, if that makes sense. And it's just exactly what I would expect a Golden Bamboo to smell like, yeah? So for me, this is honorary Golden Bamboo. Golden Bamboo is a little bit more sophisticated, but it also has a much more like perfume-like quality to it. So in that sense, it's similar to this one, but it's just kind of a different profile, I think. And I appreciate it. I mean, yes, it's probably more of a bougie hotel lobby candle, not least because it is one of those candles that has a very shy strength and throw, unless and until you can burn it for 5 hours. This one performs so much better, has a much more balanced aspect of green and aquatic along with the glow. I just think it's a more successful candle across the board. Maybe I just got lucky. And I'm going to feel really badly if you get this candle and it doesn't perform. Like maybe just randomly this one performed. But for me, way outperformed actual Golden Bamboo and was the fragrance that I expected from Golden Bamboo. So there you go. Between the two of these little candles, of course I would rather buy this one. I think it performed better. Admittedly, it does have double the amount of wicks as the Tuscany candle has. So please keep that in mind. But on a sale, this Tuscany one is really, really similar too. And if you can't get a hold of the Homeworx one, for a whole host of reasons, you're not finding it in your Marshalls or TJ Maxx, it's not on the website, you don't want to pay the shipping, etc., 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 this is a very, very nice and similar candle. So I recommend both of them, but I especially recommend this Homeworx one because I do think that it's actually a better performer than Golden Bamboo and kind of what I was expecting from Golden Bamboo and didn't get. So as much as I love the sophistication of Golden Bamboo, and yeah, I just think I would purchase Clarity over it if I had them both to, you know what I mean? I suspect though that Clarity is a very limited edition though. I mean, I'll link it down below if it's available. Do those of you who know Homeworx really well, is the Eucalyptus Sage aspect, is this a long-standing candle that has just been repackaged as Clarity, or I don't know. I really don't know anything about this, and I joined the Homeworx Facebook group reluctantly because I just don't know that I want to be in another candle group of groupies, if you know what I mean. Ugh. But at the same time, I kind of want to know what the news is. What new candles are coming out? What's this? What's that? You know, like I feel as though I need to know more about Homeworx than I currently do. I feel very much on the outside. So, I don't know, but I'm not expert in this. So if you're a Homeworx person and you know more about this candle, definitely let me know in the comments down below. But I really highly recommend it. Did it work for you? Those of you who bought it on a whim or at Marshalls, did you like it? I liked it. I thought it was great. So there you go. Two kind of random candles, but they're very similar to each other as well. So, like I said, I'll link information down below if I can find it for either one of them. And I will catch you in the next one. Thanks, guys. Bye.